by all indications, Epstein is involved in the creation of what becomes, one of the biggest Ponzi schemes in U.S. history. Hoffenberg takes the fall from it. And even though, in grand jury testimony, Epstein's name comes up, and in the line of questioning, Hoffenberg confirms that Epstein was, per him, the mastermind. And this is in the grand jury testimony, but then later in the official case, Epstein's nowhere to be found. And in that same period of time, he's going to the White House. And who's the first person that signs up on his very first White House visit? It's Robert Rubin. And Robert Rubin, up until he was involved with the Clinton White House, was head of Goldman Sachs. And this is at the same time that Goldman Sachs is in buttloads of trouble because they were involved with Robert Maxwell's financial crimes that sort of, exploded in the aftermath of his death in a big way, including the mirror pension fund stuff. So very interesting to see that take place because, obviously at this point, since 1991, Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein have publicly been associated with each other.
Right.
Yeah. So basically, what's amazing is that you have this continuity with the Epstein-Clinton relationship from the very beginning. It's all around shady financial stuff. And that includes the flights on the planes after he's president, because that's obviously involved with the setup of the Clinton Foundation and specifically the Clinton Health Access Initiative. So, I mean, if you want to talk about shady Clinton financial practices, Epstein is the guy to look at. And so I think it's very telling that when you're allowed to talk about Epstein in the mainstream media, you're only really allowed to talk about the years 2001 to 2006.
Yeah.
And only about sex crimes.
That's it. Yeah. I mean, and so there's a couple things. I want to make a point to come back to Epstein-Ghislaine meeting, but I mean, that is such a major component of what Epstein was up to is like the sex crime stuff was obvious. I mean, obviously that's a large part of it. Right. But like Epstein, like Leon Black didn't just like hang out with Epstein because Epstein knew some 17-year-old girls or whatever.
Well,
like,
Leon Black says it's
Leon
David
Black actually,
Rockefeller that connected them.
Yes. Yeah.
But
exactly.
also Leon Black was apparently a total freak. I mean,
well,
I can't say I'm surprised.
I'm not.
Something been told to me off the record.
Listen, well, now it's on the record. So the what I'm saying here is like these money guys. You're Leon Black. You can get a 15-year-old, 16-year-old girl. That's probably not the most difficult thing in the world for you to procure. What is something that's very valuable that Epstein can give you, in addition to that, is the ability to hide your money, the ability to put your money into, a complex web of trusts and banks and shadow banks. I mean, this is really a huge utility that Epstein brings to the table. It's like Epstein is a sex blackmailer, yes, but like Epstein's also a money man. He's a bag man. I mean, that's the thing that even the mainstream press is forced to report this, that like, we don't know. I mean, we know, but we don't know exactly how Epstein got all his money. We don't know.
It's not hard. They just don't want to figure it out. Because if they did figure it out, it's very obvious that even if you're just talking about Epstein post 2000, that it has his financial activities have major implications for two of the biggest foundations in the world, the Clinton Foundation and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation.
Not to mention the financial crisis. Yeah. Like, I mean, so much accidentally came out about this with the disclosure of the Paradise Papers that like so much information was able to be kind of gleaned from understanding all of the weird Bear Stearns cutouts and then later JP Morgan cutouts that Epstein was involved in setting up in the Virgin Islands.
Yeah, and there's a lot to come out there. So I didn't even get to put this in the book, but John Kessler, who co-founded the New Albany Company with Leslie Wexner, is one of the guys that put Jamie Dimon in charge of JP Morgan. So I think that's probably why they go from why he went from Bear Stearns to JP Morgan after Bear Stearns is no more. It's not surprising. Or if I'm not mistaken, JP Morgan took over the remnants of Bear Stearns after the crisis.
They basically, they like absorbed it and quote unquote absorbed its losses.
Yeah, in light of what we know now, or at least what I know now and what's detailed in the book about Epstein's prior history, his role in the collapse of Bear Stearns needs to be re-examined because the fund that apparently set it all off, Epstein apparently initiated that allegedly by asking for his money back. And that led to all this scrutiny on that particular fund at Bear Stearns that sort of has this domino effect and allegedly collapses the bank. And people may have heard about this because it was alleged that I think when his court cases began about sex trafficking, that he was going to testify or was going to be like interviewed as some part of expert testimony against the guys that ran this fund. But then, according to the people that run this really excellent blog on Wall Street crimes called Wall Street on Parade.
Oh,
yeah.
I think the Martins. So they said something about that particular financial vehicle that Epstein allegedly lost a bunch of money on because of the collapse of that fund. It was bailed out by the Fed. That's nuts. So, he didn't really lose money then, did he? If that's true, or at least not that much.
The beneficiary of the largest.
And if you're looking at him as a guy that's an intelligence-linked financial criminal, that's really staggering, considering how many people lost money in the 2008 financial crisis and how it's a major wealth transfer. And the fact that you have him around this network involved in the savings and loans crisis, which, according to Pete Bruton, who wrote the book on it, was intelligence and organized crime, stealing $6 billion. I think it needs to be looked at really seriously. But again, if you're going to examine this stuff, or if mainstream media is going to report on this stuff, it's going to cause a lot of pain for a lot of powerful people.